going to read to you an as yet unpublished short story entitled I'm Too Sad to Tell You About I'm Too Sad to Tell You. The story is a work of fiction, but the filmmaker and the film in the story are real, and they're on YouTube, so you don't have to pay to see them. Okay. If you insist, I'll tell you about I'm Too Sad to Tell You, but this is the last time. I studied with Bastian in Los Angeles. One day, he invited me to his studio. He arrived just after I did, with a camera in his hand, and silently led me inside. He handed me the camera and stood against the wall. Without warning, he started weeping. I turned the camera on and stared at him through the lens, transfixed. After 3 minutes and 22 seconds, the 16mm film ran out. As suddenly as they started, his tears stopped, the last one rolling off the end of his cheek the moment the film expired. I put the cap back on the lens and turned to leave. He stopped me, led me to a cafe, bought me a coffee, and sat down. There are anti-war protesters everywhere. You probably noticed, he said. Why? Why? I said. Well, they believe America has no right to be in Vietnam, and they're angry about the senseless loss of life. You read the papers, said Bastian. They've misunderstood or misrepresented, I don't know which. The war stimulates their anger, yes, but it doesn't generate it. Intellectually, those protesters think the war is wrong, but that's not the point. The protest is an outlet for emotions that they've never been allowed to express. The most fundamental emotion, he said, is sadness, the most painful feeling and the hardest to understand. People feel angry because they can't understand this sadness. The way society shuns those who make that sadness explicit means they have to repress it, and it becomes anger. So why isn't everyone out protesting, I said. He looked at me. It's because different people act on their anger in different ways. Some people protest against wars, other people make them. Some people don't express the anger at all. They feel they're not allowed to express their anger any more than their sadness, and they become depressed. That's why we've made this film. But, I said, won't it make people more depressed? I don't think so, he said. It will make people reconnect with the raw emotion they repressed as children in the process of becoming adults, and it will force them to confront it. But why not challenge them with raw happiness, I said. The happiness we all felt as children and lost as we grew old. Ah, he tapped his nose. The happiness we claim to remember as children. I think that before people can contemplate happiness, they have to understand their sadness. People will say this film is too much for them, I said. They will become ready, he replied. Word will spread. You think you're Christ, I said. I'm not dying for anyone, he declared. I just make films. How will people know you're not faking it? He stood up without looking at me, took his camera and left. I didn't call him. I heard nothing from him for several years, until I heard that his film was screening in Los Angeles. I went to see it. Bastian's handwritten title flashed silently across the frame. Then for the next 3 minutes and 22 seconds, his head rolled in genuine anguish, the tears streaming down his cheeks. I felt a tap on my shoulder. You're crying, said Bastian. You made me. My next work will make you happy, he said. Come to my studio tomorrow. His door was open when I arrived. You inspired this, said Bastian, as I cast my eyes upon the boat that dominated his tiny studio. This is the ocean wave, he said. It's the only tangible part of my next project, entitled In Search of the Miraculous. You think it's very small. It is. It's only 13 feet. When I sail from Massachusetts to Falmouth in England, it will become the smallest craft ever to cross the Atlantic. That's insane, I said. The project will hopefully contain an element of what you may call insanity, he replied. The mental voyage is far more important than the physical one. Amidst the calmness of the ocean, without any distractions, my mind shall be focused purely on attacking human sadness at its root, until it can only collapse and give way to everlasting happiness. How do you propose to do that? I said. Pure concentration, he replied. I'll record the journey in my logbooks. When I return to land, I shall publish them, and they shall show the way. You imagine yourself finding a universal formula for perpetual happiness. Of course not, he replied. I hope to find happiness for myself, within myself. It's up to other people whether or not they follow my example. It's too much for you, I told him. You'll go insane. It's possible, he said. This is an experiment. If I fail, I fail, but at least I tried. You think you're Christ, I thought, but I didn't repeat myself. I shook his hand, wished him luck, and walked away. The telegram arrived as I was alone in my flat, idly watching a television program I thought was stupid. Emotional patterns established before conscious memories stop, so the first step is the only step, stop. Acceptance of sadness is victory over sadness, stop. Humans look for happiness when they should be seeking contentment, stop. The miraculous has been found and the search can stop. The ocean wave was found drifting off the coast of Ireland, 9 months and 2 weeks after I received the telegram. They never found Bastianada or his notebooks. When I heard, I sent a copy of the telegram to several national newspapers, all of which said that Bastianada was not famous enough for them to publish it, especially as its content might upset emotionally fragile readers. Since then, I've kept it in a box with the paintings I've been unable to sell, and it's too sad to show it to anyone.